Hey everybody, Stiks with the Couch Classics here, bringing you an episode on comics. Today I'm going to be doing graphic novel of Batman The Dark Knight Returns, if I can keep the glare off of it, by Frank Miller. Started releasing in 1986, so it's a little bit old, and I didn't get into these kind of comics until just a few years ago, so for me, I'm mostly a noob at this. I know there's a lot of you guys out there that are huge on comics. You know exactly what you're talking about. I've been reading them for decades and decades, but this is one of my new passions. So I'm just kind of getting back into it. And this is one of the best places to start, in my opinion. Frank Miller was coming off of... He did Daredevil, kind of revamped Daredevil, made it really kick-ass. Then he had a standalone of his own called Ronin. And I haven't read that one, but I hear it's also pretty good. But he just kind of brought a life and vitality and a realism back into it, and really took what had become more of a childish theme for comic books and things like that, and brought it to a more adult audience. Teenagers, college kids, things like that, all the way up into the adults. And at the time, there was a heavy push for DC to change things up. They had suffered massive sales losses across the board in all these different areas because of that loss of, I guess, the gritty realism to comic books. And Batman had started out with that real hardcore, more of a dark theme, very real themes, and addressing these real issues of crime in the streets and what could be done about it. And by the time Frank Miller had come around to revamp this, you had the TV shows and things like that with Adam West, which basically turned it into a comedic, campy, tongue-in-cheek joke thing, and needed new life. It needed to be not necessarily reimagined, but with Batman they had to return to the roots. And they, I guess, did the same thing with Wonder Woman and Superman, where they just kind of tore everything apart and rebuilt from scratch. But with Batman, they were able to maintain the same level, the same storyline. Like, the way it all started was good enough, was perfect then, and it is now. Because of the theme, because I think Batman resonates with people on a deep, I guess, genetic level. Like, there's an archetype to him that resonates in all of us. Everybody wants to see justice meted out. Everyone wants to be that person that steps in and changes things for the better, changes things the way they see fit. And Batman does that, and he always has. So, him donning on the Batman suit and going out there as an average man who's taken his training both physically and mentally to a whole new level beyond what the average man does, I guess, continues to resonate now with people. So they didn't really, I guess, destroy and reimagine the character. They just solidly returned it to its roots. And this does an excellent job of that. Frank Miller is an incredible author. I mean, hands down one of the best graphic novels that I've ever read as far as storytelling, as far as just diving into a more realistic aspect of what Bruce Wayne as Batman has to struggle with internally. He's starting to get older. This is a time where he's been retired for 10 years, and he's looking around, and after so many years of fighting crime, he sees Gotham even worse than before he began. It's just returned to this violence, all this chaos and destruction, and he's questioning, what was my life? What did it mean? What was it in the end? And I mean, I'm not going to try and give away too many spoilers into this, but the opening scene, he's driving this race car, and something goes wrong, and it's going to crash, and he's thinking to himself, he's got this internal dialogue throughout, and he goes, this would be a good death, but not good enough. And he kind of saves it at the end, he pulls out of it, and he's fine. And that's a struggle throughout the book where he's monologuing with himself, this would be a good death, or this would be a good death, but it's not good enough. It's not what I'm looking for. And that continued theme throughout really, I don't know, it added a depth to it that I'd never really considered before in, the superhero that is Batman. So that was really cool. Art style, not necessarily my favorite. It's not bad. It's just a little different. The cover art was incredible. Hopefully I don't get in too much trouble here showing you some of this, but some of the cover art is just awesome stills and things like that. But in general, I think the art is a little sloppy. It doesn't look really refined. Now, I couldn't do any better job, so mad props to whoever did this. It's not, like, to me, Alex Ross is incredible. Like, it's hard to beat that. So, for me, that's, like, the pinnacle. But you've got Batman and Robin here. Pretty sweet scene, and it's just, there's a lot of that, and there's a few really incredible scenes where they come up with this stuff. But long story short, it's Batman struggling with himself and his purpose and getting to the end of his life where he's older, he's slowing down, he's been retired for 10 years and he gets back into it and he's noticing his physical deficiencies in these battles, in his struggle as Batman to accomplish his goals, to complete his purpose. This is also where Batman vs. Superman happens. And to me, this is the pinnacle. This is exactly the reason why it's such an epic struggle is this book. And totally worth the read. Personally, I didn't really get into the movie that much. I thought it was slow and boring. And the reasonings behind them fighting didn't seem to exist. But that's a whole different video, and that's just my opinion. But check this out, absolutely. If you've never read any Batman, you want to start getting into it, check out Frank Miller, this one, and then I'm going to shoot a quick video on Batman Year One, which he also did, and that was how he kind of birthed the character, and they're considered the alpha and omega, the beginning and end of Batman in his lifespan, and how he struggles with his initial startup, and then in this one where he's struggling with where he's gone and where he's headed in the twilight of his years. So absolutely check this out. Hope you enjoy it, and like, subscribe, thumbs up, thumbs down. Check us out on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all that kind of fun stuff. Leave us a comment, talk to us. We love to hear from you guys and keep moving forward. We'll catch you the next time. Peace.